Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Quinton Reviews, and boy do we have a lot to talk about. But first, as a quick aside, Caleb Adkins, my co-producer and someone who used to be featured very heavily on this channel, is going to be stopping by in a couple weeks for his Christmas vacation, and we were going to try and shoot a video or two, and one of those was going to be a Q&A. So if you have any questions you would like answered by me and Caleb, leave them in the comments down below, and we'll probably use as many as we can. And with that out of the way, let's talk about the topic of this video. So, about half a year ago I did this video debunking this urban legend that The Simpsons, the animated TV show, has a sort of knack for predicting things that happen in the future. And what I basically said was that it was a combination of selective bias and people not getting the joke. A lot of these supposed predictions were just The Simpsons making fun of something that was already happening, and then that thing came back around in the popular culture, and people thought The Simpsons had somehow known about it beforehand because of that. Like how in the year 2000, Donald Trump ran for president, and The Simpsons made fun of him, and then when he ran for president again, everyone acted like they'd somehow seen that out of thin air, that he was going to run for president. Pretty stupid, huh? So that got posted. It was a little more popular than most of my stuff, but that was really it for a really long time. But very recently, I've started to get a huge amount of comments from people that I never expected to see, partially because I didn't really believe that they existed. That being, people who actually do believe that The Simpsons can see into the future. Now, I was under the impression that if I just explained why people think The Simpsons predict things, I explained how things like this happen, and I explained how The Simpsons have really never exactly predicted anything, that any normal, sane, reasonable human being would just accept that The Simpsons don't predict things. And I was right, but I guess I didn't see it coming that a bunch of completely batshit insane, unreasonable people would also find my video.
You sound like a fool. It don't matter how many predictions are wrong, it matter about the only ones that are true. And Tor theory that the show has done so many episodes it was bound to predict some future events, that is total bullshit.
This is a stupid video, the narrator's a fucking retard, and anyone who thinks that the Simpsons predictions are this easily explained is more retarded than a fucking dog getting butt raped by a camel.
It's not predicted, it's planed.
This is BS. The guys behind these shows are giving insider info.
Now, explain the 9/11 predicted by Simpsons before it was happened.
They didn't predict their Illuminati.
I hope your handlers/abusers are proud of your pathetic attempt to downplay the fact that Matt Groening, 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, isn't let in on the plans of Satanists way above him have planned, and publicly wrote about their twisted script they play out on TV in real life.
Punk.
What's the devil paying for souls these days? I hope he bought you dinner first. Yeah, that makes sense now. The World Trade Center being destroyed was part of a trend, and history repeats itself. You are a genius.
The truth is, the creator of The Simpsons is part of the Illuminati, and he is fed ideas that are already made up ahead of time, because the Illuminati likes to give little warnings about what they have planned for the future.
The Sicilian Mafia destroyed my life. I am sure they killed my father. The Sicilians gave him the influenza virus.
Do you honestly believe anything you are saying? Do you really think that the Simpsons predictions were vague and weren't identical to reality? Just because a lot of it wasn't true or hasn't come true yet is the question. Anyway, you seem really full of yourself, so I wouldn't be surprised if you started to try to predict stuff in the future. Or maybe you have in the past and found out finally that none of it came true, so you are mad and want to make it seem like the Simpsons got lucky and didn't actually predict anything. Anyway, you just got a new subscriber!
Oh, thanks, man.
They don't predict, they write the script. Check out the Illuminati cards, too. All pre-planned years in advance. It's called predictive programming.
It's a lot to take in, isn't it? What is predictive programming? Well, predictive programming is a concept seen exclusively in conspiracy theories on the internet. The idea is that notable events can be proven to be conspiracies because they were represented in media before the fact. Take the 1993 cult classic The Super Mario Bros., where there's a scene of the Twin Towers being destroyed by a hostile menace.
Look! Tower!
Now to you and me, sane people, this is just an example of the Hollywood cliché of famous monuments being destroyed coming back around to feeling uncomfortable after that famous monument was actually destroyed. But to conspiracy theorists, This scene is proof that the creators of the 1993 bad live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie were either informed about 9/11 and asked to put a reference to it in their movie, or that the conspiracy of 9/11 was so big that the creators of the Super Mario Bros. Live-action movie were involved in 9/11. I mean, what's the chance of there being an open secret in Hollywood so big that everyone outside of the general public knows about it, but no one wants to talk about it, no one wants to report about it, and God forbid anyone tell the general public, because then everyone's careers would be over and Hollywood would just be destroyed. That'd be stupid.
You dumb piece of shit paid YouTube shill. You're either a fucking idiot or you're paid to discredit predictive programming. There's no way there's these coincidences.
Okay, so the theory apparently isn't that The Simpsons predicts things. The theory is that the people who work on The Simpsons, the writers, the creators, people like Conan O'Brien, these people do not predict the future. They're told about future events by the Illuminati, and then they start hiding references to those events so that when those events happen, no one is surprised. That is what people believe. People think that's real.
So no inside knowledge, right? Like Disney is so innocent.
The Simpsons are not predicting anything. The fucking government is literally showing us what can or may happen.
If there were like 2 people that complained about this, I would have thought they were trolls. I would have thought they were just messing with me. But there are like hundreds of comments that are exactly the same left on this one video from completely insane people. Some of them could be fake, but how would I know? How would I know? Because the real ones are probably funnier than the fake ones.
It is known that Al Gore, a New World Order globalist, has a friendship with The Simpsons creator Matt Groening, so it's not hard to figure out that Al Gore in the know, working with shadow government forces, let Matt in on a few future events that wicked Satanists are working on behind the scenes. Great job at being a total shill, Quinton reviews. Thanks for being such a useful idiot. I'm not buying that it's just some random chance that The Simpsons predicted specific events randomly and accidentally, and frankly, I don't think anyone with half a brain thinks that either.
Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, is in the Illuminati or the Enlightened Ones. He's privy to information that most people do not get to see or hear. The show was created to put things in our face and in our conscience, so it will desensitize us to the world's events. Plus, with it being a cartoon, the actors will never age, thus being able to control the movements and actions of the actors is key. Do not believe everything you hear and see and take it to be the truth. Question everything.
Where do you find this shit, dude?
I think it's only natural for people who believe in conspiracy theories to want to believe something like this because it's sort of in their blood. You see, one of the first conspiracy theories was the Paul is dead theory from the 1960s. You see, back in the 1960s, people thought that Paul McCartney had died in a car accident, and they thought he had been replaced by a lookalike for unclear reasons. And there was never any evidence of Paul McCartney dying. There was never any evidence of a car crash with an unidentified body that could have been Paul McCartney. There was never even any evidence of a Paul McCartney lookalike contest. But people thought that it was a believable theory because supposedly if you looked inside like the records from the Beatles, you could find vague lines that kind of sounded like they were talking about this cover-up that someone made up. Sorry about the Discord ding, that was the Illuminati texting me to tell me to keep making this video.
In fact, there is no time! All is in the now. So you can go back. What the fuck? Why? Who says forth and back? Who the fuck says you can go forth and back? You fucking moron. Gene D'Arc, you piece of shit. The fact that there's no time and all is in the now, you can go forth and back. They call it time travel. But luckily, they cannot change anything anymore. Fear opens portals. Fear, in all capitals, the game. Remember the game Fear? Yeah, it opens portals. Think Las Vegas. Bad guys use these portals. Fake? Well, soon you will find out.
Alright, so there were 2 really stupid things that I didn't talk about in the original video. And the reason is that I presumed that anyone watching my video would be smart enough to not need this explained to them. So if you hadn't caught on, people think that The Simpsons predicted 9/11. Here's why. Okay, there's an episode of The Simpsons that was made before 9/11 where Homer has to go to the Twin Towers to get his car back. You find out he hates New York, he never wants to go to New York again, you know, all that jazz, and he has to go to the Twin Towers. So you would imagine somewhere in that storyline about New York and the Twin Towers, there'd be some sort of line or something that would in some way seemingly reference what was to come. So what is the moment in that episode where they apparently predict 9/11? When they decide to go to New York, Lisa holds up a magazine with New York on it, and it says $9. And if the Twin Towers look like the number 11, so it says 9/11, people think that's evidence that the creators of The Simpsons were told about 9/11. If you believe that this magazine with the number 9 and a picture of the Twin Towers, if you think that's evidence that Matt Groening, or whatever his name is, if you think that's evidence that he's part of a cult that did 9/11, then there's nothing I can do to stop you from believing that, because you're just far gone. And the other thing I have to debunk is somewhat reasonable for some people to not know the truth behind. But still, I really didn't think I'd have to explain this. Take it away, disgruntled comments.
What about Trump coming down escalator? That was too accurate.
You're full of shit. The predictions are way too specific. One of the creators is 33rd degree. For example, how did they get that Trump sign exact?
What about the whole mall scene with Trump and the signs the people were holding? Simpsons also spoke of the dome over the world, the one time, and now people are speaking that the world is surrounded by a dome? But all in all, excellent video. Check out my channel and subscribe.
Yeah, how do you explain the clip of Trump going down the escalator in The Simpsons during his campaign? And it was animated perfect down to a guy dropping a sign in the background? Dude has a good point I will mention about the Trump presidency, though. They had a scene on an escalator with Trump traveling down and someone in the background on the top floor dropped a sign. We all saw that happened in real life, too. What you're going to tell me is it was coincidence, or it was someone just trying to be funny and make the Simpsons episode look real? That I would question.
Fuck you. Yeah, fuck you is right, Quinton. God damn it.
Okay, let's do this. So if you weren't aware, there's this animated clip that's been floating around of Donald Trump going down an escalator, and people have put this next to a live-action segment of Donald Trump going down a very similar escalator with very similar people, very similar pace, very similar tone. Everything about it is very similar. People have said this is ultimate proof that The Simpsons can predict things with eerie precision, getting things that close. And so we must ask ourselves, is this proof that the Simpsons are really told about these things, that they can really see that you see these things, that they're really part of the planning process? Probably not, because the animated segment came out a month after the live-action clip. But if you watch the original skit, there's no way you can think that this came out before Trump announced his presidency, because they use audio from Trump announcing his presidency in the animated skit.
I am officially running.
I mean, how can you explain that the Illuminati supposedly fed that back? They liked how The Simpsons covered that so much that they reused that audio clip in real life? How could you possibly think that? But someone does now. Someone was just convinced by that argument. I get why people have a need to believe in conspiracy theories, because it seems like constantly we are forced to witness horrible tragedies where the death toll every single time seems to only get bigger and bigger while the impact gets smaller and smaller. And if we weren't able to believe in an evil secret society that is orchestrating all of this for some unseen evil purpose, then we would have to accept that the world is just a dark, gritty, uninhabitable place filled to the brim with horrible people willing to do horrible, horrible things for apparently no damn good reason. Special thanks to my numerous guests for this episode, which happen to include what I consider to be the 4 funniest men on the internet, which is Commentikit, Chris Raygun, Nerd City, and Cecil Tainment. These guys, criminally underrated. The biggest one only has 500,000 subscribers. The smallest one has 200. I really suggest subscribing to these guys. They are so fantastic, and I feel so bad because I had them record so many comments, and I could only pick so many takes, and I ended up cutting a bunch of them because originally there was going to be this whole side tangent about, like, B-Movie or something.
I lost my virginity while B-Movie was on in the background. Rumple my foreskin. Hey, what's up? Lowly Squatch here. Only came here to say that Maha the Bee is way better than the B-Movie, and that she is best girl, even better than Madeline as far as early 20th century children waifus goes.
Vote Ted Cruz 2020.
But I cut the whole B-Movie part, and I'm sorry I made you guys record all that just to cut it out. But really, thank you so much. And I want to apologize to Chris Reagan the most because his was really long, and I ended up not using a lot of it. And a bunch of those I made up just because I wanted to hear him say them, and those weren't real, Chris. I'm sorry.
My grandpa said to me, hey kid, make something of your life, eh? Get a law degree, work hard, help people. But I said, nah, Gramps, I'm gonna be a stormtrooper, and look where that's got me.
With all that out of the way, make sure to subscribe to my guests. Thank you for watching. Leave questions below so that Caleb can answer those. And with all that, that's all you need.
Cause I smoke too much weed and my breath no good. Okay.
The Sicilians gave him the affluenza virus. Oh, I said affluenza.
This is a stupid video. The narrator's a fucking retard.
I need to see 3 forms of ID before I'm even gonna humor you and call you by what you claim is your first name. Question everything. If I ask you what the weather's like, and you say, it's nice, it's warm enough to not wear a sweatshirt, I'm still gonna go outside and double check, because I'm a skeptic. I'm a proud skeptic, and I refuse to be misled. Even over the most trivial things, especially The Simpsons. Heck, Quinton, I can tell just by the way you talk about The Simpsons that you're probably letting them download your bodily fluids straight out of your fleshlight, you dumb son of a bitch. Quinton, I'm gonna need to talk a little bit more about your handlers/abusers. The man pops up in your house with a hook for a hand, a bionic hook. Does that look like modern day technology? I don't think so. That is not available to the public. Mecha John Miss is clearly rocking some technology that is not available to the general public. Quinton Reviews, do you not realize that you are being supervised by lizards and robots?